Welcome to Scars to Stars, where conversations and personal stories let us know we are not alone. In this show, you will meet authors and speakers from our books and events as they share vulnerable personal stories to spread hope and inspire you through adversities in your own life. The world is a difficult place. You will find like-minded people here with kind hearts and supportive souls. I am your host, Dina Brown Mitchell. I am a suicide survivor and the founder of the Realize Foundation. I am so glad you are here. Let's dig into this meaningful conversation. Hi, everybody. It's Dina at the Realize Foundation, and I'm here with another special guest today, Barton Henderson, and I think he's in New Jersey, correct?
Right. Yep. In New Jersey.
New Jersey, and I can't wait for you to hear what he's doing in the world and some things that he wants to share with us today that I think will be helpful for others. So, Barton, do you want to introduce yourself in a different way or say anything else about what you do?
Yeah, just give a quick. I'm an angel investor. I run a men's network where we take men and help them achieve in family, faith, finance, fitness, all kind of aspects where you want to be challenged in life. I'm an attorney by trade. I don't practice anymore, although I do consult and give speeches in that respect. But really, more than anything, I am a father and a husband. So that's really my two biggest things in life are that I'm a father and a husband, and that's what I classify myself as more than anything, I'd say.
Awesome. How many kids do you have?
I have two boys, about 1.5 and 2.5, and we have a lot of fun. I like to tell people, from the hours of about 3:30 p.m. to 7:30 p.m., which is bedtime at 7:30, our house is more fun than Disney World. We have lots of fun all the time.
Awesome. That's awesome.
Yeah.
So I know when you were growing up, did you just have one brother or did you have more siblings?
Yeah, I had one brother. So it was just me and my brother growing up, which is really special to even have had the experience of having a sibling. I talk to friends who are only children. They always say, I wish I had a sibling and things like that. And I was kind of, I don't know, if ruminating and thinking of a lot of who I am today. You always think of getting things from your parents, but it's funny, I got a lot from my brother. And so you think, well, is it the parents that form the siblings? But everybody's different when they're born, and we've all got different gifts and different techniques. So I think a lot of me today is from my older brother too, which is interesting.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, I know you're going to talk about your brother, and I would love for you to start by saying what was special about him.
Yeah. So my brother, Seth Henderson, he passed away when I was 21 years old from a heroin overdose, something, you never, ever see coming, no matter what happens in your life. You just think, oh, well, that'll never happen to me. That'll never happen to my family. One thing that I've learned over the years since is, it crosses all strata, all financial strata, races, genders, just everything across the spectrum is drug addiction hits all families, no matter where they are in life. And so my brother, what was special about him? A lot of things. So he was always challenging people in a really positive way, really competitive, really wonderful spirit of love. He was a person in the world who just had so much pride and love for his family that it's hard to kind of describe. I have friends who grew up with siblings and they're kind of like, oh, well, yeah, my brother, he's cool. I'm okay. Like me and my brother and my whole family, we're best friends. We're so close. As close as anybody could be to another brother or friend or anything like that. So it was a really amazing experience to have somebody who's always got your back, who was always there to love you, support you, push you forward. He was just someone who had a heart of gold and really loved people. So as far as the good aspects, I remember him, despite the really tough times of dealing with addiction, when I think of them, I don't think about all those, really dark times that we've gone through, which I'm, able to talk about as well. But I think about the light, the smile, the competitiveness, the sports, things like that. It's kind of how I always remember him, really.
That's awesome. It is funny how siblings can be the best of friends, and then they can also be very distant.
Yeah.
I just have one brother. He's 7 years younger than me.
Mm-hmm.
And, I was in high school by the time he was in middle school. So like I didn't, we had so many years between us.
Yeah.
So I was gone for all of his high school stuff. Right. But we're still close. We don't see each other that often, but we're still close.
Well, it's tough. We all go different ways, same thing with friends and other family members. We moved to different places. But yeah, my brother and I, we were 6 years apart, but he always, he's the kind of brother who was like changing my diapers and stuff when I was younger. So it was, we had that kind of relationship where he always cared for me in some way,
That's awesome.
Yeah.
So how did this addiction start with him? Was he young, or how did that start?
Yeah. So first, it's interesting. You must get this a lot, but I talk about so many different topics and issues, whether I'm going around speaking or on podcasts. And this is one thing I just very rarely open up about. I mean, in fact, if you ask some of my dearest friends around me and people in the community, they probably go, "Oh, I didn't even know that about you." And I think it's because it's almost seen as like a vulnerable weakness, if you will, that you went through something like that. And I don't want people feeling bad for me, essentially. And so that's probably why I don't bring it up. I have as much love as anyone could have for my brother, and I'm happy to share memories about my brother, but it's just something that doesn't come up, at least that I do as much. I have family or people who have also lost people who they talk about it all the time, which is great. And that's therapeutic for them, I think. But for some reason, I don't want people feeling bad for me. And I don't know that that's right or wrong, but that's what's always kept me from talking about it as much. So as far as when it started, I think that'd be a tough question. It was the first time he had ever done heroin, they said, from the autopsy. So that was that. But it started with pills, pharmaceuticals, and things of that nature. It was kind of, it's like anything. It's like the 5 people you surround yourself with, and he was probably surrounded by the wrong people at that time, right? Mm-hmm. And so what had happened is he had gotten used to the pills, and one day when it was the first time that he actually did shooting heroin, it's like people don't realize and they don't know that the amount you're doing the pill, it's so much more significant in the injection that you're not supposed to do the same amount. And so that's what happened. But, it's interesting. I can talk about it right now, but at the time, I mean, I was, devastated. I mean, I was shaking for first and only time in my life. Like I was going through my days, just like kind of shaking, almost like a tick or whatever it might be, just kind of getting through it. Right. I remember the process of the funeral just being like, I was like, I just got to get through this. I just got to make it through this day and the next day and the next day and the next day. And it felt like a year. It was like just getting through that. And people were there and reaching out and trying to be supportive and everything. It's just like, I just need to get through this time, is what I remember thinking. And what I see a lot when people suffer a loss. Now, I can't compare my loss to other people. Like some people lose their fathers or mothers. Some people lose children. There's different loss and there's different degrees. So I can't compare my loss to anybody else's, other than to say that the way that I dealt with it, I think was really positive, a positive way to do it. And what it was still a principle I live by today, which is doing. I just had to start doing things. And so, for a day or two, it's real easy. I mean, or for a month or two, or for 6 months or a year, it's real easy to sit in your bedroom and cry. Like, depression can set in for certain people. And it's a negative cycle. I mean, you've talked about this in many podcasts before. And so what I decided was like, I have to get up and do something. I cannot just like sit here and cry and shake and be kind of in my sorrow. So, at the time I was really young. I literally went to a bar that I used to work at. It wasn't just a bar, a restaurant. And I said like, hey, do you guys need help? And 2 days after my brother passed away, it was 2 or 3 days, I can't recall. I was a server. I was literally waiting on tables at a restaurant. And some people they're like, Bart, like, relax. Don't go out. Just take some time off. Go do whatever you gotta. I was like, this is what I need to do. Like, I need to be doing something, right? And it wasn't ignoring it. I wasn't putting it out of my life. I wasn't saying, oh, I'm not going to deal with this. I'm going to just be busy. It was just a function of when you're alone and all you're doing is getting deeper and deeper and deeper and deeper into thoughts. Sometimes that can be a good thing retrospectively if it's regarding the right topics, but a lot of times that can be a negative thing. And so I just needed to do. And I can remember maybe like 2 or 3 days after I started being a server, I remember somebody asking me like, hey, I heard somebody just passed away who was a sibling of someone who works here. And I was like, yeah, that was my brother. And they're like, oh my God. And the reason I bring this up is kind of an axiom I like to try to live by, I guess, which is there's always the opportunity to try to choose a positive mindset. And so, when I went up to tables after my brother passed away and I was serving tables 2 days later, I said, hey, how's your day going? What can I get for you? I was totally open and positive and nice to everybody, and they wouldn't know. In the back, I might have been like crying or sad about what was going on or whatever. But when I was in front of people, I was being happy. And so, one thing that just drives me crazy is when I go to a restaurant and servers are mean to people or when they're rude to people, and someone at the table will go to me, well, everyone's going through things sometimes. And I said, I know. I've been on the other side of things, and I was still nice to people. I still chose to be positive. I still chose to try to show love and respect to people around me. And so, I guess this is a long way of saying, I think that action and trying to choose a positive route, if possible, was really helpful in the healing process for me. It's something that, had I just sat in my bedroom or wherever, who knows if I would have ever gotten over it? Who knows how much longer, how many years it would have taken? And who knows if you ever get over it per se, but the idea of action is what led me to healing. It was a big piece of my healing journey.
That's awesome. I think we are very similar in that sense. I haven't been in your shoes as far as losing your brother, but I think that we all deal with it differently, and everybody has things that help them. But I'm just wondering, are there like tools or specific actions that really helped you through that time? Hi there, it's Dina. If you like our podcast and you're enjoying learning about other people's stories of overcoming adversity, please go over to therealizefoundation.org and support us by donating. We believe that conversations, community, and personal story can change lives and reduce suicide ideation. And we also have a way, if you have a business, you can support us without money out of your pocket. So go on over to realizefoundation.org and look at the donate page, and you can learn how to support us as a business, and also you can donate any amount. Thank you so much.
Yeah, so I think trying to be cognizant, again, kind of going back to action, of like schedule, if you will, and being like, oh, okay, this Saturday I'm going to be off. and I've got nothing to do, I should probably call up a friend and go do something, you know? I should probably make sure that I'm going to meet someone at the beach, or that whatever it might be. So just being cognizant of being surrounded by people, you know, who know what you're going through, but are there to help you through it. I think that one of the tools I use is kind of stacking my schedule. I mean, I was only 21. I didn't have a schedule like I do now, you know, but being cognizant of saying like, hey, I don't want to be home and alone and sitting there. And so one of the things was definitely a schedule. You know, the other thing is connecting with people who have been through similar things. I think, you know, one of my good friends went through something very similar. And him and I, you know, both when his brother passed away and when my brother passed away, we were there for each other, and we were there like every day. You know, I remember one day I called him, and or he called me. He said, "Hey, I'm coming over." I said, "No, I'm just not. You know, I don't feel like doing." He literally like nearly broke down the door to my house. It was like came in. It was like, "Come on, let's go. Get up. We're gonna go wakeboarding, or we're gonna go to the beach, or like whatever it was, right?" And so, you know, leaning into being open to your friends surrounding you is important, because so many people pull away. Like I've talked to a lot of people who have experienced depression, and the thing that I hear from them is they don't want to be around people. When, in my opinion, that's a really powerful thing to get you out of the negative cycle, is to be around people, and it's pulling away from that. And so, you know, having friends surrounded, you know, letting them know what you're going through so they can try to help you and pull you out of it is another key, I think. But you know, when it comes to specific tactics, I think something was awakened in me that said life is precious. You know, like everybody has these moments, whether it's like they almost get hit by a car, or you know, maybe someone gets over terminal cancer, whatever it might be. You have moments where you go, life is precious. It was a great gift to me that at the young age of 21, I got that message. And it was like, life is precious. You better stop wasting time and start doing the things you want to do. You better start sharing the love you want to share with people. If you feel like you should say something to somebody, say it. Don't hold back. And so, you know, after my brother passed away, I said, life is precious. I'm going to start living this life deliberately and with purpose, rather than kind of floating through life. And so, you know, out of all negative things, that positive things do happen. And so there was that gift from God and the universe that I realized life is precious. And had I not come home for my brother's funeral, I wouldn't have rekindled and re-met my wife. And now I have these two beautiful children. And so, you know, it's a path. Is it the path I wanted to go down? No, but it took me to where I am now, which is the most beautiful life and blessings and gifts of having a wife and two beautiful children that I could ever ask for. And so, you know, that's my kind of way I look at it now, I suppose.
Yeah, that's beautiful. So I think that speaks to our name, Scars to Stars, because, you know, in 2020, when I was starting this journey, I got a tattoo on my arm that says "Thankful for the Scars." And I think it's because when we go through hard stuff, it does exactly what you're explaining. It makes us stronger, it makes us better.
Absolutely.
Even though it's hard.
Very. Yes. I couldn't agree more. I think that people grow with challenge, right? It's like if you don't have things to keep pushing you forward, to stress and to grow, it's not going to happen. You know, do they need to be as painful and as bad as maybe we've experienced in the past? Not always. You know, I'm sure there's an easier path to growth, or you know, maybe less painful path. But But no doubt. I mean, I don't know that I'd have the same compassion for people in this world had it not been for my brother, you know? I mean, I consider that empathy and compassion to be probably the two most important qualities. Like if you ask me, what do I want my sons to be? And, you know, some people would say doctors or lawyers or engineers. I would say empathetic and compassionate. Like that's, to me, the most important things. And without these types of experiences, I don't know that you can relate to all people and understand the pain and the things that happen in this world, to have that same level of empathy and compassion, you know?
Yeah, I completely 1,000% agree with that, because I think that people have not had struggles, you know, and all people have struggles. It's just a level of
Right.
what the struggle is. And I think when you've been touched by suicide or death or, you know, addiction or abuse or all of those things that we talk about here,
Mm-hmm.
it's just another level of trauma that thankfully everyone in the world does not have to experience.
Right.
And I think that it's true when you go through stuff like that. You know, when I woke up in the hospital mad that I was alive, I was just angry and I just wanted the pain to stop. I wasn't thinking clearly about, you know, what I should learn from that. But I also had a friend who was insistent on coming to see me and taking me somewhere, and I didn't want to go.
Right.
And I think that, like you said, it's that community. It's that, who are those 5 people you talk to the most? Who are those people in your life that really know what's going on, that take the time to reach out to you and talk to you? There's a reason. You know, I believe that God has a plan for all of us. And I think that's part of it. When we're in a bad place and we have people that are close to us that see it for us when we can't see it ourselves, it's really important. And so it's kind of all about what this community is about, is about conversations and personal stories, and how do we connect with people in a way that they know they're not the only one that's having the struggle they're having. Someone else has been.
That's exactly right. I mean, I can't tell you how many people reached out to me and said, my family's going through the same thing right now. Not that their brother or sister passed away, addiction. And you'd go, what are you talking about? Like, I would have no idea, you know, your family's beautiful and this and that, you know, there's just this conception. And they'd go, and they would say to me, like, I had no idea other people go through this. Like a lot of people, they think that, you know, a drug addict is someone in the alley of New York City who's shooting up every day, who's homeless. And that is one form of a drug addict. And there's nothing wrong with one form versus another. But there's drug addicts today who are working all day long and they're going home and they're going to be taking too many prescription pills at night to be able to go through the rest, whatever it is, right? I mean, there's just so many different levels of it. And so many people came and said, wow, like I didn't know people dealt with this. I didn't know that people in our area or people right around me or my friends had similar problems. It's like, yeah, apparently lots of people do. And so you're right. Just letting people know is really important. You're like the fact that your friend knew then and was able to help you. And then I'm sure you've had countless people come to you and say, I've had these same feelings and I didn't know other people deal with these same feelings. In our men's network, in Agora Guild, the theme that I hear all the time is, wait, you feel like this too? Like, I didn't know other men. So there's this kind of overarching pressure on men nowadays, because, you know, back 50 years ago, a man could go to work and come home and that was it. I mean, that's how society was back then. And so nowadays, men are a lot of times compassionate, interactive parents. So like now you have to work, you have to be a parent, you have to be present, but you also have to financially make money you want to make. You need to stay in shape. There's just so many pressures and so many things. And so many guys in our group will be like, wait, do you guys feel pressure for that too? Like, I didn't know anyone else was going through that. Well, most people are going through something at any given time. And so just letting people know your story, it allows people to know that others out there are going through the same thing.
And I think when I hear somebody say, wait, you struggle with that too, it's like the best music to my ears, because it means somebody's finally going to get help.
Right.
Exactly. Even if it's just a conversation, a supportive conversation can change somebody's life.
Totally.
So yeah. That's why we're here.
Yeah, absolutely. Try to reach a person or two. I mean, I've worked with phenomenal organizations. The Tigger Stavola Foundation is a foundation I worked with for years. And they help people with addiction. Locally, for suicide support, there's SPTS, which is an organization that helps a lot of good people, specifically for teens in regards to suicide. And so it's good to know that there's places to go that people can talk to,
Yeah.
And people can learn and understand. But to kind of bring it full circle back to the beginning of what I said, like, there has to be some kind of action, right? Like, you have to pick up the phone and call these people, or you have to get out of bed and walk into their building or whatever it is. And so it's important, whether it's depression or addiction or whatever, just to get up and move, to get up and move. If you have any fiber in your being to be able to get out in the sun or get to the gym or be able to talk to somebody on the phone, just to do something. I really think that doing anything can lead to actions that get you momentum in the right direction,
I agree with that very, very much. I think that we think sitting in the sun doesn't really, it's a waste of time. You're just sitting there, or whatever, but it is not. And I think every morning I sit out in the sun, as long as it's not snowing here, right, and read my Jesus Calling book. And that is my one thing that I do every morning. And it just changes my mindset from not wanting to get out of bed to being excited to get to my desk and do whatever I need to do that day.
Yeah.
So I think it's a very good point.
And it's that one small action of opening the book, or opening the door and walking outside. Like, it's not monumental, right? But it has monumental changes throughout the day, which is awesome.
That is awesome. Thank you so much for having this conversation with me today.
Yeah, it's been nice to connect and to talk about something I really I don't talk about very often,
Yeah.
If anything that I would want, like, people to know, it's that if you have somebody who struggles with addiction, it's not only your journey, people who don't know me, or even people who know me now, have no idea the drug dens, the drug dealers, the people who both me and my mom have dealt with and been in and out of and pulled my brother out of places. And the point is that I'm trying to make is you don't know what people are dealing with. And so you want to address everybody with empathy and compassion, and know that there's other people out there who are dealing with the same thing.
I agree with that. Yeah. It's, I always say, being kind is easy. Saying hello to somebody, opening the door for somebody, but you have no idea what effect it has on them. It might totally make their day.
I love it. That's so nice. So at the end of every single, our men's network, it's called Agora Guild. At the end of every single meeting, we end it the same way, which is, you just hit it right on the head. It's go out and do something kind for somebody today. Whether it's opening a door, buying them a cup of coffee, giving them a compliment about how they look, That one little thing could send ripples. It could make somebody's day. I've had somebody who I said, hey, you look good. You look like you've been going to the gym. And 4 months later, they come back to me and they go, that one compliment changed my life because I kept going to the gym because you said it, or whatever it might be. Like, I've had these small interactions, which you think are nothing. Your small thing can like really affect people with kindness,
It's so true.
Yeah.
So true.
Yeah.
Well, I really appreciate you sharing your story with our audience, and I know it will help someone.
Yeah, well, I appreciate you having me on, and it's so nice to connect. Looking forward to working more together, and I hope you have something nice and something kind to do for somebody today.
Absolutely. Thank you.
I'm so happy you joined us for this conversation. My wish is that you found comfort and hope in your own unique situation. If you resonated with our message, please head over to therealizefoundation.org, where you can apply to write your own story in one of our books. You can also download our 60 Ideas for Self-Care on the resources page. I can't wait to hear from you. Until next time, you are not alone, you are worthy, and you are enough.